All right, we're going to go to Doug Miller, Doug Miller right now for our demonstration tonight. Doug, talk to us, sir.
Oh, all right. It is good to be with you guys tonight. I was not real sure I was going to be here, but then made sure I was after Dane talked to me and um, about doing it. And so I'm here. I won't be here next week, but I will be. I am here tonight, and I'm glad to be here. Showed you that
Glad
little
to have you,
bowl a
Doug.
while ago. Showed you that little bowl. I'm going to be doing a lot of those in the days to come. I'm also going to be doing a bunch of eggs. I saw that on the list. I really like your Eddie. I liked your or your explanation of the difference between a saucer and a plate. That was good. How big it is before you ruin it. I've gone through more than one. I'm sure we all have. Anyway, um, I want to show you a small bowl tonight because small bowls are just a little bit different. Um, I've heard a lot of folks talking about um, turning big stuff on big lathes and little stuff on little lathes, but you can turn, you can't turn big stuff on a little lathe. That's the only thing you can't do. You can turn small things on a bigger lathe. My lathe is not the biggest. It's got a 16-inch swing, and that's if everything is perfect. Um, I just measured a while ago. It's exactly 8 inches from center of spindle to my bed weight, and so I figure a 15-inch max piece is all I can get on this lathe, unless I turn my headstock. This headstock will turn 180 degrees. I do have a bowl lathe that none of you all have seen. I can go 24 on it without modification. With a little modification, I can go a good bit larger. And if I get a floor stand for my tool rest, I could go. What is that? I guess I could go close to 8 feet with a floor stand tool rest. So, but I don't use that very often. I use this one right here. This is my Nova 1624 that I have added the electronic speed controller on. So that's enough about that. Um, do have my face shield going on right now. It's going to stay on. So without any further ado, this is our piece for turning tonight. This is a piece of pear. It was a small crotch. Right there is one pith. Right there is another pith. And right there is another pith. If I switch it to the other end, you can see two of the three. I'm not sure where that third one goes, but then it's also got, turn it where you can see it. It's got this little branch sticking out here. So there's a seam in the bark right there as well. I flattened that side. I was going to make that the bottom, and I changed my mind. So I just went over and drilled with a Forstner bit that little hole. It's actually just a hair too big, but these jaws will expand large enough to go in there. So let's get that on, and then we'll get to moving here. You may have seen my thing in the on the barter page there. I'm down to I still need one chuck. If somebody has a spare chuck you'd like to barter and get rid of, contact me. You can do it through the barter page there, or my contact information is in the contact list.
Yeah, having a spare chuck is like leftover wine for me.
Exactly. There's not many of those. I fooled around and finagled two of the three that I was looking for. So now I still need one. if I fool around and found two, it'd be another thing. But we're good. We're good right now. Anyhow, yeah, Chuck's coming up with another chuck is a miracle thing without having to pay through the nose for them right now. I did find it's a web store that's selling it's one of the Nova Light for like $69. It comes with a set of the 50 millimeter jaws. I've got 3 sets laying around now. I don't need any more 50 millimeter jaws. In fact, I'll trade 50 millimeter jaws if somebody wants them. Okay, we're on just that drilled hole just to give us a start. I've spun it. It's going clear without any problem. I'm going to start out at 155 RPM just to make sure everything's good to go, and then we'll speed it up and get to turning.
Safety awareness. There is no bling, and he's wearing a space mask.
No rings. My ring is in my pocket. My face mask is on. I've had too many pieces of bark hit me. In fact, I've got a place right here where that heart-shaped crotch, the bark came off and hit me right there, and it's not healed up yet. I'm not sure what I did right there. Something today. Just knocked the little bark off. But I'm not going to
Brenda,
wear
sell
a
him some
ring and get it
Band-Aids.
caught.
Brenda, send him
No.
some Band-Aids.
No bleeding, so I don't need Band-Aids.
Put him on the
All
list
right.
anyway.
Just real light cuts just to get this thing started, start getting it round. All right. Now I could have taken this over to the bandsaw and knocked off that little limb, but I wanted y'all to see that limb, just so you could see definitely it's another area of crotch. That seam goes right up through here, so it goes fairly deep. It's down like this, a little further even. So I'm hoping that's going to show up. But you can already see we're starting to get a nice little rounded shape here. All right, keep going. We'll raise my speed just a little bit.
Look at those fine little curly cues coming off. A good slicing cut.
Heard you say that, Eddie, and just
Yeah, isn't that sweet?
Little corkscrews.
yep, that comes from having a sharp tool and a good presentation, like Eddie said, good slicing cut. Okay, before I go any further, I'm going to mark for my recess. Turn the speed down. This round straight and raise it up. That'll work. I've got this marked for radius instead of diameter, so I'm gauging to the center with the right wing, and the left wing is the one hitting the wood. Little tiny recess. It's not much of one. Go ahead and speed back up. I'll get my parting tool and we'll make that recess, or start it anyway. Forgot to drop my tool rest. Raise my tool rest. This is just a little mini skew that I'm going to use to undercut this recess with.
Make the matching dovetail on the jaws.
Yes. These jaws do have a little bit of a, yeah, what you call that?
Dovetail.
Thank you, dovetail. Oh, most of y'all, well, I've talked about it once or twice, but I had a stroke about 3.5, 4 years ago, and words sometimes just get stuck inside my brain and won't come out. I can
can
form them,
relate
I
to
can say
that.
them. Yeah,
I find it
It's,
happening more and more often to myself.
well, sure, it happens with age anyway, but this stroke really accelerated it.
Yeah.
And being a person that was my life, was preaching and talking with people, and it's much harder to do now.
I know how you feel. You can see those words, but you can't say them.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Eddie, mine just won't even come into my brain. I know what I'm trying to say, but I can't find a word to say what I was intending.
Yep. Mine was in 1993, Doug, and I was a classroom instructor. That was fun.
Oh, I bet.
Folks, pay and listen to your doctors. Don't be a victim of that kind of problem, because it will haunt you forever. So if you're AFib, you've got high blood pressure, whatever, do what's necessary.
Yep.
And I miss so much of my regular life. I really do.
Yeah, I fit none of the categories. I was an anomaly. They had no idea why I had one.
Really?
Yeah. Blood pressure's low, great health, non-smoker. It was nuts. They had, the only thing we could determine was possibly stress.
Well, mine went good until they found that my Agent Orange trophy. And then,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my doctor was
Nice
trying to
cuts,
figure out.
Doug.
Thank you. My doctor, while I was in the hospital, was trying to figure out why in the world I had a stroke. And because non-smoker, non-drinker, slightly overweight, but not much. He was a little perplexed, but he said, it looks like you got very fortunate. I had my stroke in the best place you can have one. It was on my cerebellum. So my issues are minor. I consider myself extremely blessed.
You and me
so,
both.
yeah, life is good. Life is good. All right, just a few more cuts on this outside, then we'll talk about going on the inside here.
Yeah, mine was central. Affected my speech and equilibrium. Still does
Yeah,
once in a while.
My equilibrium was my one sign. It's the only thing that showed that I'd had a stroke.
Mm-hmm.
Got to the doctor's office. The event happened on Wednesday. I got into the doctor on Friday, and she was about to send me home with vertigo medication. And she said, let me look at your eyes one last time before you leave. My pupils were ever so slightly different.
Mm.
So she ordered a head CT, and I didn't even get home from that. They called me. They'd already read it and said, you've got an anomaly in your brain. Go to the ER. So I did.
Supposed to prove you had a brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I went to the ER. I went to the ER that morning. And
I should have. Mine happened down in the evening, and I should have gone in. My wife and I thought it might be vertigo, which was strange anyway. I'd never had vertigo before,
yeah,
but well, that night I'd gotten off the couch. I walked 3 feet and was off course by 6 feet.
yep. Yeah, mine hit me right after I got to work. So I had a coworker drive me to the ER, and doctor put me right in for an ENG, and he said it's showing something central. So they did an MRI the next day, and there you go.
All right. Just been working on some of these flats that were on the very top section of this little blank. All right, I'm going to take one more cleaning pass just to clean this up. That'll get me a little more of this flat taken care of. I'm also going to round this outer edge of this foot, because that foot's going to end up staying. Need a better angle here.
The sad
if I
part
move
was, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if I move my vacuum, it'd be a little easier. There we go.
Earlier, Doug was talking about a chuck and needing another chuck and putting information on our website. We have a barter section of our website now. It's not a commercial sales section. It's if you want to barter, looking for or looking to get rid of tools, etc. That's where you go.
Oh, gosh.
And in other groups that had those kinds of things, and they worked great when people used them. There again, nice bird's nest kind of material. And a lot of that will go outside. And birds can get it. And that'll be great. All right. There we go. Still find if I push right dead center, it works better for me. I know some folks have said, "Oh, you don't have to do that. Just push on the front period." I've done that and had them so crooked. Where if I'll push dead in the center, especially
Bigger,
just before
bigger
it gets
pieces,
tight.
use your live center.
Yes, exactly. You can use your live center, or if you just push right dead in the center. All right.
No, I'm
Now,
saying for
this is-
bigger pieces, use your live center. It's too much
Oh,
weight. to
yeah,
push in the
yeah.
center.
That's a third hand. All right. Typically what I do, this headstock turns. So typically what I do is turn this out. But so that I don't have to change my camera and you guys can still see, we're going to leave it right where it is. All right. Still using, this is a 1/2 inch bowl gouge, by the way. Nothing real special about it. I am going to raise my speed up just a bit. I would also typically think about a live edge, but I'm going to take this one off. I want to take off about a 1/2 inch off the top of this.
What size gouge are you using there, Doug?
I'm sorry,
What size gouge are you using?
1/2 inch. Okay, I still got a little bark left there. I've still got a good 1/4 inch to go to get down. I want to get
Somebody-
down below.
Somebody put in chat and asked, is that an old baseball bat? Your handle?
No, no. Trying to think what, it's either oak or ash. I turned it.
Oh,
I
it's
turned
very
that from
nice.
scratch. Thank you. In fact, that was turned just for this particular gouge.
Watch those cuts. Look how sweet that is when he gets to the center. Curly cues all the way and he doesn't cross the center.
Been watching a lot of guys lately. They get started on those cuts and they're moving the back. Hopefully you noticed I was trying to go straight across, even if my hand stayed still. I was letting it go across so that I don't do that. I'm watching the back side of this bevel as it goes across that surface. And that's what gives me those curls all the way across. That and well, before I do that, getting pretty good distance between me and the wood. Just making sure I'm deep as I want to go. That's where I want to be, right there.
The one turner watch another turner. I'm so enjoying seeing those little curly cues come off. Just him.
All right. We're going to start doing the hollowing of the bowl, and I'm going to start with the center. And again, just like Eddie said a while ago, this is my way of doing it. You may find something that, oh, I'm going to try that. And that's cool if you want to do that. If you say, this guy's a nut, that's okay too. This is just what works for me. I'm going to work my way out to the outside and get my rim established. Right there, I'm watching both inside and outside, going down kind of parallel. Now I've got to take out some of this in the center. Give me some room. That's just an ugly cut no matter what. Thought I heard something fall. I don't know what it is though. Got the bottom and the side pretty much together. So I'm taking out just a little bit of the side and come on into the inside. I go slow, I don't break anything out. Use my digital calipers.
Watch what happens when he gets to the center. Watch the tip of his tool. He rides it right there. He did kick his handle out away from him to create a dimple. It's really hard when you create that dimple.
Just a couple of little ripples on the inside wall there, but that's easy enough to fix. All right, we're at the place of sanding now. What time have we got? Okay. Another reason I wanted to do the practice piece today was so I could see what kind of time I was looking at. These small bowls don't take long. We're at the point now of
Plenty of
sanding.
time.
See, there is a part of the crotch figure right there. It's gonna be fun to, there's some of it right there. There's some more right here in the sidewall and right here in that sidewall. So it's gonna be interesting when I get some finish on it. Let me, I'm gonna sand without
What's
my
the
back
depth on
system
that?
on. I'm sorry?
What's the depth on that? How deep is that bowl?
Let's see.
More like a saucer.
Looking for something to span that with. Oh, here, these will work. To the center, we are at 1.2 inches deep, which is, oh, I've got a good 1/16 on the bottom there, Dane.
There you go.
Uh-oh.
Good wasabi bowl. For those folks that like to eat raw
It'll be good
fish
for-
and kill it with
That'd be good
something
for a
else.
lot of things. Be good for a lot of things. Here it is. Trying to figure out where in the world my sandpaper was. Okay, we're gonna slow it back down. I was at 1400 is where we ended up at. We're gonna go back down to 5. Just do some hand sanding real quick. This piece of wood had some checks and cracks in it that I did not notice, but it started showing up. There were no catches, so it wasn't from that. Rounding those edges. I don't like, I've cut myself on the edges when I've turned before I sand, and that's not fun. Anyway, I hit those real, just hit them a little bit. That's 100 grit that I'm starting off with. I know Matt doesn't like 100 grit except for when he's got a major issue. But I like to start with 100 grit. I like to start with 100 grit just because it makes the wood the same.
I have 100 grit in my toolkit, Doug, and I will shape, if I want to change the shape slightly, I will use 100 grit, so.
Sure. And I understand that.
Yep.
I can turn to that. That's not a problem. It's just getting that surface completely the same so that it takes the finish the same all the way across. That bulb that I showed you earlier that I've redone for 2 weeks now or 3 weeks, I missed that spot on the inside, and that's why it didn't take finish the way the rest of it did. So, you know, that's a rare example. I don't have that very often. And any tear out that I haven't seen because it was camouflaged, or some of these cracks that are popping up. Yeah, I'm really done with 100 right now.
Very
Then the
often
rest of the
those.
grit,
Go ahead.
I was going to say the rest of the grits will go really quick because the heavy stuff is gone.
Very often those cracks will appear because we've relieved stresses in the wood that we couldn't see were there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And with this being having 2 or 3 pits going through it,
Yep.
you know it had stresses in it.
Yep. And if you've ever run a long board through a table saw, you can see the kind of stresses I'm talking about.
Oh, my word.
Wood will move like crazy.
I watch a channel. It's a young couple that has a sawmill. That's the biggest part of their income. They've gotten huge on YouTube, but their income is really from the sawmill. They sawed up a log the other day, and right in the center 2 slabs that they cut, cracks came up before they got from one end to the other. It was amazing. They were so disappointed that they had those cracks, but that's the way it is sometimes. You just relieve the stress, and there they are.
Yep.
Cedar, Eastern red aromatic cedar is terrible for
All you gotta do
that.
is look at it. All you gotta do is look at it.
Yeah, I've turned so many bowls that in the middle of the finishing process, I hear this. Sounds like somebody snapped their fingers.
Yep.
Look back at my bowl, and there's a crack.
Yep. Ash Juniper do the same thing, especially
sir,
if you
the same.
apply shellac to it. The alcohol dries so quickly, it'll snap in a
Right.
heartbeat.
Yes, it's amazing.
First time I worked with ERC, I bought some from North Carolina. It got sent to me. I was making bandsaw boxes out of them. Made 10 almost identical bandsaw boxes. Within 4 days, they were all worthless.
Wow.
Right on the burn pile. I was extremely upset because I didn't know red cedar did that.
Yes. And people say, "Oh, it's so beautiful." Well, it is. It's a pain to work with.
For a
for
minute,
that
for a
very
moment,
reason. Yeah.
right? For a moment it is.
Yep. I had that one. It was a big cup, is what it was, that I painted red and black, and had the red and black. It looked like they were burning into each other. And when I said it was red cedar, you should have heard all the griping and complaining. Can't believe you painted cedar. But you know what?
That
I
stuff
I
cracks-
still
that
think
stuff
that paint
cracks
is what
worse
held
than
that cedar
snakewood.
together. Yep.
Yep, that stuff cracks worse than snakewood.
Make a pin out of snakewood and set the pin on the dashboard of your truck one time.
Well, that's
It
the
won't make the
dashboard of your
day.
truck. You only do that one time, right?
It won't last the day.
Oh, I know.
You learn.
Well, most pins won't last a day sitting on your dashboard.
Well, I guarantee you snakewood won't. Cedar
Hmm.
won't either.
Nope.
Had a fella bought a $50 pin from me made out of snakewood. One of the first, well, it was the first snakewood that I'd ever done. Put it on the dashboard of his car, and it was in the winter, and it didn't make the day.
Did he want
was
a
so upset at
refund?
himself. No.
Oh,
No, he wasn't that kind of a customer.
okay.
He came.
Yeah, he wouldn't have got a
came to me and
refund
told-
from me.
He came and told me he had done it, and he was so upset with himself. He said, "I knew I was going to do that as soon as I put it up there." So I made him another one out of walnut. And he paid me for it too. Of course, walnut here. Go ahead.
Remember the old days when you used to have cassettes in your car? You made sure you
Oh,
never
yeah.
left them on your dashboard or your
Yeah.
console
my.
or
Even the seat. I left a whole set of tapes on the seat of a car one time, and about 2/3 of them melted. All right.
well,
I know
maybe
you
there were
guys are tired of
8-tracks.
things.
Maybe there are 8-tracks and you can't use them anymore, you know.
All right, let's see what we got here. Tool marks are all gone. Could probably sand a couple of little spots out still. But for the most part, looks pretty good. Just for demonstration purposes. This is walnut oil.
And that's not a cloth. That's a
No.
piece of paper towel. And that's that that 3-fingered guy over in the corner. Why it's not a cloth.
That's right. I've got a whole basket of t-shirt material that I cut up t-shirt when people started talking about how bad t-shirts were to use. And so those things are still sitting over there. I pull one out. I pull 1 or 2 out a year, but it's not for putting on spinning wood. It's usually when I'm doing some maintenance on one of my machines. All right. Now what I should have done was finished the bottom in the recess before I ever turned it around. But I can still do it. I can put it on one of those things, cold jaws.
Or a vacuum chuck.
Or vacuum
Or a
chuck.
jam chuck.
Yeah, it looks
Or just
pretty.
a flat piece of stock.
My vacuum chuck is too big for this. I could make a smaller face for it.
That's what I did, Doug, is I made a smaller one for it.
Yeah, that's what I need to do.
Very nice.
Get it up here.
That's pretty.
That's pretty.
Very nice.
That's,
Yeah, I really like
that's
that look.
pretty.
It's very nice
That's
wood.
another weed tree in Kentucky. It's pear, Bartlett pear,
That's nice.
or not Bartlett, it's Bradford pear.
Yeah.
But it
I
makes,
think it's a weed everywhere now.
yeah, grows profusely, repopulates itself badly, cracks at the first little breeze.
Yep.
But there you have it.
Drops
That
nasty,
nice,
drops nasty fruit that nobody picks up.
yeah,
Yeah,
The
and the flowers
brown
even
is
smell
just-
bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
The brown is beautiful. The
Yeah,
white
It
is just as beautiful.
it turns
get to
pretty.
it in
It's
a
a
minute.
it's a soft, consistent wood. I love turning it.
Yeah, as you saw, this is pretty. It's not bone dry. It's only been cut for about a year. It sits outside for the most part. This is a piece. This was a longer piece. It was kind of a branch. I used 90% of the long pieces this past winter for turning Christmas trees, between pear and crabapple and hackberry. I think I turned 130 or 140 Christmas trees.
Wow.
I've got 2 left, so they were good sellers this year.
I have some wild pear. It turns really nice.
Yes. Most any pear does if you get it that's not cracked. This one has developed. It looks like maybe a little bit of ring shank right there. You can't see it, but I can. It's on the outside here too, but it's not. That's coming from one of those pits, so that's what that is. But I will put this back on and I'll sand it some more, and then I'll probably just go ahead. Well, I'll once I finish sanding, I will put another coat of oil on it, let it dry, and then I'll come back with my axe. And I talk about axe because that's what I use. The abrasive pastes are all good. They all do a great job, whether it's Axe or any of the other brands. And it just takes you from 240 or 320 all the way up to 1,000 without buying that sandpaper and without all the dust. That's the biggest thing. The dust is the thing for me. I just don't like all the dust. So, and then wax.
You know, you can make that abrasive paste on your own. and
Absolutely.
Cut that cost out. It's amazing. You really can.
Well, it's really not that much cheaper. I've made my own, and that's where I started using it. And I can make it a touch cheaper, but then when you include my time, it's not any different.
Oh, because I did a comparison of all the major ones.
Mhm.
Nobody could tell the difference on the finish of the one I
Right.
made and the ones you buy.
Right,
And,
right.
It was quite unique.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Kim Tippin used to add some essential oils to hers to make it smell pretty. I don't care about that myself, but she did. And I bet you when she gets her shop again, she'll do it again.
Mm-hmm.
But there at the end, just before she closed her shop, she was buying abrasive paste. So
Yeah, actually, I think
It-
she
yeah.
was, I think it was given to her by Brad.
Yeah, it was.
he gave her some. Yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah, that's what she was promoting. So
Well, I miss that nice lady. I really do.
Yep. She had a post on Facebook yesterday, I believe it was Monday or yesterday, and she sounded a little more upbeat than the time before. Time before she was pretty down.
Yeah.
Hey, I might have to apologize about her because I went ahead for the YouTube video of a week or so ago. Maybe I scared her off. I don't know if she's coming back now. She thought it was hilarious. She told me she misses everybody. So yeah, I think Doug's right. Once she gets her shop up, we'll probably see a lot more of her again.
I think we should, when she saw that, saw you in a bikini and blonde wig, that really set her back some.
No, it set
That was
me
a
back
scary
some.
thought.
yeah,
I've
hopefully
been
we
looking
can
for the Brainwaves
get her to
ever
do a
since.
demonstration.
Absolutely.
I
She's a
think
great
it's
dancer.
great. So don't even listen to these guys. I think it's great.
No, very, very nice.
What's
Yeah,
great
very
about
nice.
Nice
Doug
work.
being in a bikini. Doug, did you
Little
hear
Good
bit.
that?
pair.
Heather thought you looked great in that bikini.
I sell photos. Just go ahead and get my number off the website. We can work
Right.
something out. I give
Well, you
I
actually-
give Worldwide Woodturner discounts.
He's got a calendar.
Oh, gosh.
That's a pretty piece of work, Doug,
Good
and you
job,
did
Doug.
excellent on demonstrating, sir.
Yes,
All right,
very
guys.
nice.
Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Those
Good job,
small
Doug.
bowls
You.
are so useful. It's amazing. I keep so many
Yeah.
things in small little bowls. It's just incredible.
Yeah. Whether it's rings, necklaces, earrings.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
are folks who I know Dane talked about in one of his videos doing bowls this size. For people that have a number of medications, they can divvy those out into these little small bowls and have them ready for when they are ready to take them. Talk to a lady in the store where I sell some of my work. She was talking about having a handful of these in her kitchen for dry ingredients before she dumps them into the big
Right.
bowl.
Yep.
So
Yeah, you can
they're
use them for
extremely handy.
so many things. Amazing.
Yeah.
Really.
M&Ms that
Yeah.
when you have a dinner party, stick M&Ms or peanuts and have them sitting around the house.
That's not big enough for M&Ms.
That's right. I was gonna say something good.
And
Just
what a
for
what a wonderful
appetizers.
and what a wonderful way to display that stuff, you know?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have bowls of similar
Incredible.
size everywhere too. I have them in the shop. I have them on the computer desk. I have them on top
Yeah.
of my dresser. They work great for change bowls or change,
Yep.
dishes.
Yeah, I've got jewelry
Absolutely.
and change and all kinds of stuff in them.
How
They're
many
great
of
for,
you,
for- they're great
how
for
many
your,
of you-
when you're changing chuck jaws. They're great for the little screws too.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
now,
Thanks,
how
when I'm
Doug.
working around-
Thanks, Doug, for the
Little
demo.
magnet in the recess.
Inlay
You're
a
welcome.
magnet in the bottom of them.
Brenda, you had a question or was you gonna say something?
yeah, I was gonna say something. I was gonna say, how many of you guys will go to a party and see that thing full of M&Ms and pick up the whole bowl and just dump it in your mouth?
Well,